David De Gea.
Once a superstar on the football scene, David De Gea had the attention of everyone with his incredible saves and his raw athleticism. He wasn't just any raw prospect. He was one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
De Gea is the best goalkeeper in the world.
Maybe the Premier League's best keeper right now.
This guy was absolutely fantastic to hear.
And that's the dream of any player, right? For everyone to consider you as one of the best players in your position. But all of a sudden, there was an unexpected twist. Despite all of these individual accolades he got at Manchester United, something truly unexpected happened. In less than 3 years, he went from being one of the top keepers in the world to then later being called a fraud all over the internet in such a short amount of time. Crazy shit. Imagine being David De Gea, once a global superstar, now to a forgotten figure. It's crazy how things can change so fast. Now, where is he now? And who has to blame for his fall off? And is there any hope for him to come back in the near future? We will cover it all in this video. Okay, let's begin. Okay. So the first question that we need to be asking ourselves is, when did the David De Gea downfall actually start? Let me start from the beginning, like the actual beginning. 3, 2, 1. Here we go! David began his professional career with Atletico de Madrid. He joined the club's youth academy at the age of 13, and he made his debut for the senior team in 2009. During his time with Atletico de Madrid, he quickly established himself as a super reliable and pretty talented goalkeeper. So in that time period, he helped Atletico win the UEFA Super Cup, win the UEFA Europa League, and in addition to all of that, he made 50 appearances before the age of 20. And that's a really big thing if you ask me. At the time, it was no surprise that big clubs were interested in him. You see, his time in Spain was like the perfect launchpad for his career. And you can tell he was destined for a bigger club. And with Manchester United having to move on with Edwin van der Sar in 2011, they had to find a replacement, and fast. And as you can guess, Manchester United's expectations of their new goalie were pretty high after having one of the best keepers of all time, 2 times in a row in fact, with Edwin van der Sar and Peter Schmeichel, 2 phenomenal keepers. So after looking at Italy, France, Germany, and Spain, pretty much the best European countries for football, they ended up going for the young and inexperienced Mr. David De Gea.
David De Gea could save the fucking Titanic.
And as soon as he heard about the interest, David hopped on the first plane to Manchester and signed the contract. Now here's the thing, even though David had a handful of experience in Spain, he had some pretty big shoes to fill. See, his transfer was a British record fee for a goalkeeper of approximately 18.9 million pounds. And as you can imagine, the expectations just had reached a whole new level. So did he manage to do it? Was he able to fill Van der Sar's shoes? Yes, I kinda think he did, but without the same winning results, if that makes sense. You see, Manchester United didn't win as much when David De Gea was a starter for them. So there could be a real debate or even an argument that he truly never filled those shoes. But I think that's a conversation for another day. So, when David arrived at Man U, he took some time to adapt to the new team, and that came with a lot of criticism early on. But once he got adjusted to the team, De Gea was at his absolute best, blocking any sort of shot that came his way, with some pretty incredible saves too.
Fucking Titanic.
So that leads me to the 2017 calendar year. In that year, he won his first Premier League Golden Glove. One of the best awards you can get as a keeper, I would say. So ability-wise, De Gea was in his prime. And at that point, some would argue that he was the best keeper in the world. That year, he was at the peak of his career, and everything seemed to be going perfectly. But little did he know, it marked the beginning of Manchester United's downfall. The 18-19 season began with De Gea keeping just 5 clean sheets in his first 25 games. Yeah, not good at all. And did it get better? Nope. He ended up with 8 clean sheets in 38 games. But ahead of the 19-20 season, he was offered a new contract. It was from this point stuff really went downhill from him. In that same season, he actually beat Peter Schmeichel's record for the most clean sheets in the history of the club. but he made multiple errors, leading to United dropping points and leading them to a third place finish, and additionally getting knocked out of the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea with two of his own errors that led to United losing the game. Then came the infamous 2021 season. This year, for the first time in De Gea's entire time at United, he had someone competing for his position. Dean Henderson, the manager at the time, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was having a hard time deciding on who to choose. To me though, it was always clear who the better keeper was. No offense to Dean Henderson, but I don't even think he matched the same level of intensity and talent that De Gea brought to United. Still, Ole ended up going for his most reliable option, De Gea, as we all expected. During that season, he had a lot of ups and he had a lot of downs, a pattern we've seen in previous seasons. He had some good moments though, like United's record 9-0 win against Southampton, but he also had some pretty bad displays, like his penalty in the Europa League that ended up costing them the final. After being the sole reason why United missed out on another major trophy, a lot of fans started to turn on him. People noticed that something wasn't like it used to be, but he continued on being their main man for the next 2 seasons. In between those 2 to 3 years, he won the Golden Glove again for the first time since the 17-18 season. He played his 500th match for Manchester United, and he also did win the FA Cup as well. On paper, it looks like he did a pretty good job, right? But did the fans who watched him week in and week out think so? No. Unfortunately, after having played 545 matches for Manchester United, he left as a free agent and he was ready for a new chapter in his career. So after De Gea took a 1-year break from football, enjoying his time with his friends and family, he signed for an Italian team called Fiorentina. And this was at the last week of the summer transfer window, something no one truly expected, especially for a player of his caliber. But let's go back some years, because we've got something important to clear up. Who has the blame for his fall off? Of course you would say De Gea, but there's a little pattern that no one has really been talking about. See, around this time, his downfall really started some changes in Manchester United's defense. Think of it like this: they went from having reliable cars at the back to something more like this. So it's fair to say then it wasn't entirely his fault. But don't get me wrong here. He also played a part of his sudden fall off. When Sir Alex Ferguson left, everything about the United team changed. They used to be a team that always wanted to win, but they lost some of that spark over the years. The new leaders didn't keep the same standards, and the players didn't seem as driven as before. And because of this, and some bad choices from the team's bosses, the whole entire club felt different, and it affected everyone, even him. So is there any hope for him in the future? Well, he's a 33-year-old goalkeeper, so it's kind of really hard to tell. However, it wouldn't surprise me if he were to hop on to a Saudi Arabian team or even the MLS. But to be fair, or to give him the benefit of the doubt, keepers can stay at a top form by the age of 40 and even older. Take a look at Buffon for an example. He was a starter in the best team in Italy until the age of around 40, showing that he was still one of the best to do it. So I would not be surprised if he has a quick comeback to the biggest stages in Europe as a top keeper again. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate if you liked the video and hit subscribe. If you like content like this, and if you want to see the end of Mexican football that no one else is noticing, if so, click the video up above. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are amazing. I appreciate every single one of you. I love making content like this, and I wish I can continue doing so. I'll catch you guys on the next one.